All right, we'll get you all the latest on that blast. But moving on to another big story. Well, let's get you the latest from Pakistan, which will vote for its next government on 25th of July. That is the coming Wednesday. However, something really unusual happened last night. On the streets of Rawalpindi, anti-ISI slogans were raised outside a drug court, which is near Pakistan's army headquarters in Rawalpindi. A large number of PMLN supporters of former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's party supporters shouted ISI Murdabad and said that the army is behind state terrorism. Protesters alleged that Pakistan's general elections, which are to be held on July 25th, were fixed and rigged by the country's spy agency, the ISI, or the Inter-Services Intelligence. These protests took place outside the drug court, where a PMLN leader was awarded life imprisonment. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Anas Malik, our bureau chief from Pakistan. Anas, thank you so much for speaking to World is One News. This development took place last night. It's unprecedented. Not very often you hear about these protests which take place against the army or the ISI, and that too very close to the headquarters in Rawalpindi.
Absolutely, it's an unprecedented move. We haven't been seeing such a protest. We've been seeing chants of ye jo dehshatgardi hai, that the army has been behind the terrorism in Pakistan. By the slogans, they've been raised by the PTM protesters, by the Baloch protesters, by the protesters in Gilgit-Baltistan and in Kashmir as well. But the slogans against the ISI and anti-army slogans of this nature being chanted in Rawalpindi, that is practically a cantonment city. Almost 6 to 7 kilometers near to the general headquarters, the army's forte, the army's palace. It is very significant. They were chanted right outside the drug court just last night by a group of PMLN protesters. Not just that, they also chanted against the so-called Khalai Makhluk that Nawaz Sharif had often been referring to. The Khalai Makhluk or the aliens that Nawaz Sharif had been referring to were the ISI, and now that these chants have been coming in, directly and openly naming the ISI, it is indeed very unprecedented and something very significant. What also has to be kept in mind that the slogans were chanted from right outside the drug court, where a PMLN leader, Hanif Abbasi, was sentenced in a 6-year-old case that had been pending. And he was sentenced just 4 days prior to the elections, again indicating towards the pre-poll rigging. We saw a huge number of police and paramilitary presence, ANF forces, anti-narcotic forces being present inside the courtroom as well. Again, the decision as well, it was very unprecedented because it was announced at 11 p.m. in the night. Right from the court, from the judgment itself, it was reserved around 2 p.m. local time, and it was announced 9 hours later, 11 p.m. We haven't seen such a verdict being announced from as far as 2007 when the then military dictator imposed a state of emergency in Pakistan. So all of this is certainly indicating that the people of Pakistan, they are resisting the deep state, they are standing up to the deep state, and they are ready to name and shame the ISI and the deep state. Yesterday we saw the chief justice, one of the judges of the Islamabad High Court, Justice Shaukat Aziz Siddiqui, he had been naming the ISI as well. And right after that, some hours later, a bunch of protesters, angry protesters, they chanting these slogans some kilometers around from the general headquarters. It is indeed very significant. Yes.
Right. Anas, please stay on with us. I would like to play those visuals for our viewers once again, and that audio, because this is something unheard of, directly targeting the army of Pakistan there.
इसके पीछे
So we just saw those visuals, those protests taking place outside, near actually the army headquarters in Rawalpindi, outside a drug court where a PMLN leader was sentenced to life last night. Anas, for the benefit of our viewers, could you please explain? A lot of things are unfolding in Pakistan. We've seen the seeds of dissent being sown. A lot of politicians are coming out and saying that these elections are taking place in the shadow of fear. Then a lot of media houses have claimed that there's this censorship and there's this hidden shadow of the army or the ISI which is dominating the discourse in the country. And then the third thing that we see is a lot of terror attacks are happening. So come July 25th, what will be in the mind of an average Pakistani who's going to go and vote for a new government who wants to see change in Pakistan?
Absolutely, Archana. There are three parts to your questions. Let's just break it down one by one. The first part as to what is happening in Pakistan and the fact that a lot of politicians and media people and other people have been speaking up, and how it is going to affect the minds of the voters as well. So absolutely, what has been happening in Pakistan is no less than pre-poll rigging. What we've been seeing is unprecedented. Just in the last elections, Imran Khan was alleging PMLN of doing People's Party of doing pre-poll rigging in favor of the PMLN, and later we saw he naming the sitting army Brigadier Ranja that he had been involved in pre-poll rigging as well. But this time the tides have changed. People's Party, all the left wing and the centre left parties, they allege that there has been pre-poll rigging being done in favor of Imran Khan. Now again, Imran Khan maintains that since these parties are from the status quo and they are losing their support on ground, that is the reason they're resorting to. But what we see on ground is that there is a lot of substance, not just some, but a lot of substance in these claims by these center left wing, or even center rightist political parties such as the ANP, the Pakistan People's Party, and for that matter the PMLN as well, which has previously ruled Pakistan for the past 5 years. We've seen a systematic clampdown on their workers, on their leadership as well. Nawaz Sharif was first put into prison, then their other leaders were subsequently arrested. Last night we saw Hanif Abbasi, one of the key leaders from Rawalpindi. He was sent to jail just 4 days prior to the election. What also has to be kept in mind is that a disqualification verdict can possibly the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, he can possibly face on the 24th of this month, just a day before the election, in the contempt of court notice. So it's a systematic clampdown. Eventually this will all be in favor of the PMLN, because the Pakistani voter, it's a lot sympathetic. We saw that previously as well. In the 2008 elections, it was a general hype. The general public phenomena was towards the PMLN and the ARD, the then ARD, that was the Alliance for Restoration of Democracy, which was by the right wing parties, and it had the support of Nawaz Sharif as well. They were the leading ones because they were against the then military dictator and his rule, Musharraf's rule. But we saw the unfortunate event in 2007 where Benazir Bhutto was assassinated, the leader of Pakistan People's Party, and then the tides changed. So the Pakistani general sentiment is sympathetic towards people who are being victimized, and we will see the tides will go regardless of whatever that has been happening right now. The pre-poll rigging, as I would go on to justify that this is all what is happening, is pre-poll rigging. Candidates being disqualified, leadership being put into jails, they're not being allowed to hold their public gatherings, and so on and so forth. This is all being done. This is all being categorized under pre-poll rigging. Despite of that, we do expect a surprise on the polling day that will be coming from the PMLN. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much, Anas, for that comprehensive update and reporting.